Welcome back to the channel. This is Trinity Storm, and you are watching fifth part of What If Naruto Was Chosen by Venom. If you enjoy this video, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Now, wasting no more time, let's start the story.
God damn it. Where the hell are they, Shizune? All of Konoha is due a shipment of all kinds of alcohol. It was terrible, like someone had put up a blockade on Konoha. But instead of stopping food or people from coming in, this person, who was moving around in the dark, had taken all of the liquor, sake, and beer from every store and bar. People who drank too much, like the Hokage, were going crazy. There was still coffee, so thanked Kami. For the third day in a row, Tsunade finished her work early so she wouldn't have to worry about where her valuable drink had gone. But everyone, and she did mean everyone, wanted to know where it all went. Not a single store showed that it wasn't making enough money. It looked like all of it had been bought when no one was looking. Even Hiyashi began to shake because of it. Tsunade-sama, think of it this way, you got your work done. Shizune, who didn't drink, was fine, of course. I don't give a damn about work. This is a crisis. I'm so close to calling a state of emergency. Naruto asked Hokage-sama as he walked in, is something wrong, Kasen? He was carrying a package wrapped in cloth under his arm. The look she gave him could have killed a tree. We think that's the case. If you tell us what's wrong, you'll feel better. I will not feel any better until I get some fucking sake. Naruto blinked a few times and said, oh, that. He wasn't a light drinker, but he did have his favorites. But when he answered, his voice had a hint of amusement in it. When she had a thought, Tsunade's face turned crazy. After he was forced to get married, the sake stopped. Not only that, but he could easily pay for something like this with his bounties, his inheritance, and the huge amount of money he still has from Gaju. She stood on top of him, took his bandages in her hands, and pulled them down. His face was straight, and there was no sign that he was about to laugh. Did you come here to see what you've done? No, Hokage-sama. We came because a good friend in Mist sent us to get his brother yesterday. He gave us a nice reward in a crate of sake. She had him by the collar and close to her face. I'm going to tell you to give it to me. Kasen. We can't do that. You're the Hokage, imagine if a council member did that. The fallout would kill us. Plus, that sake is for our weddings in 2 days. It's being served at an open bar. He groaned as he was wrapped in a spine-crushing hug. You are a wonderful godson. The open bar meant she could drink as much as she wanted. Ow, ow, ow. Kasen, you're crushing my spine. I can't feel my legs. She let go, and Naruto almost fell over. We did bring a small gift, though. It's not much, but we brought a bottle. She had him again. We're going to give each council member a glass to see if it's good. Tsunade let him go with a growl. He may not have been born to be in politics, but he learned how to do it quickly. How soon? Tonight, council chambers and Kasen, just one glass, he said as he limped out of the room. It hurt a lot and cost a lot of money, but Tsunade-Kasen, payback hurts. Naruto, hold on, she said. He stopped and looked at her. You are a hunter ninja, so I will give you an S-rank mission. I want you to find the missing sake and, if you want, the person who took it. If you catch the person, you will bring them to me and ask them why they did this. We would, Hokage-sama, but we still have to go through a week of rest leave before we can. Don't give that crap to me. You made us do it, Hokage-sama. We had no choice. But once we're off the mountain again, we'll make it our top priority. There was that sound of amusement again. Danzo walked into the office of the Hokage without even the slightest sign of withdrawal. Hokage-san, you wanted to see me, didn't you? She said, sit, and pointed to the chair in front of her. I want to know why Root is still going. I'm afraid I'm not getting it. Danzo, I haven't had a drink in a week and my head hurts like hell. If I could, I'd do what everyone else is doing and go to a town outside of Konoha and have a drink, but since I can't, I'm going to take my anger out on you. So, stop talking nonsense, or I'll send you to the hospital. You have a way with words, Tsunade-san. Do you want to know why I still have that part of root? Because of that. He pointed to the headband of Uchiha Itachi, which was to be given back to his family today. And that, replied Kabuto. He finished by pointing to the fourth Hokage and saying, and men like him have to die. I read the report that the hunter ninja Venom gave to the Anbu commander. Uchiha Madara is still alive and is causing a lot of trouble around the elemental continent. Not only him, but also Orochimaru, Rokusho, and others that have hurt Konoha. The Uchiha clan itself. These are or were men that could or did hurt our home in some way and are too strong for normal ninja to beat. You know how I lost my arm and eye? I was in Anbu, and my team and I were after someone. It doesn't matter who he was anymore. What matters is that he was stronger than us. As my men and women were dying around me, I decided that if I was going to die, I would at least take him with me. As you can see, it didn't go as planned, since he was dead and I wasn't. As I was being carried back with the dead and injured, I realized that most people don't know how to fight someone who doesn't want to live through the fight. Most people never get that all or nothing point of view. And that's when I realized that if we were going to survive, we needed someone who knew what they were doing. You probably heard from Uzumaki in some way or another, right? He already had it, so I asked him to join. He may want to live, but he's never had anyone, so he fights even though he only has himself to lose. He fights because other people will suffer if he doesn't. I wanted him to be there because I knew he would go that far if he had to. But I'm glad it hasn't happened. So you kept it alive for soldiers you were going to kill anyway? Tsunade asked. Are you telling me that there's nothing you'd be willing to die for? Root's home is Konoha. I never wanted to make ninja weapons because that would make us lose our humanity. But sometimes missions fail because people want to live. That people start wars. You remember how the last ninja war began, right? I recall. A ninja from Iwa spoke up because he wanted to go back to his home. And because of that, the third did what he thought was best. Which brought about war. There is a country way out in the west that has more than one military branch. This is the creed of one of these groups. Getting the job done and taking care of the troops. They sign up for this service even though they know this. Danzo sighed. The mission comes first. I lost my son in that awful war. Even though I would love to blame the Sarutobi, that jerk Iwa, who is still alive, is to blame for his death. I won't feel sorry for you because you lost, Tsunade said. I don't want you to either. I'm saying that we need some of that mission completion, so that we never cause something like that. I want names, numbers, and what you plan to do with them. We have 107 members. I'll give you their names soon, and we'll reintroduce them to other ninjas to make sure they all think the same way. If I find out you're lying, I'll kill you, Tsunade said, leaving the threat open-ended. But you won't, because I'm not, he said, standing up and popping his back. Most strange thing, all the sake is gone. Yeah? Wasn't your favorite old wine the brand gone first? Yes, it was. Ah, just checking. He turned and walked away. I'll see you at the tasting, right? Yes, you'll. It's almost cruel, though, that we only got one glass and had to wait 2 more days for more. Get out, Danzo, Tsunade growled, then leaned back in her chair. I think I know my godson well enough to know if he did or not. He doesn't have any reason to. Except for me, who made him marry. In 14 days. 2 ladies. If she wasn't sure he was right, she would think he was trying to drive a wedge between them by saying that. You said that? I did, Danzo said. You are the cruelest when it comes to people who have done something to make you angry. We get it. Root, how do you like the wine? They are as happy as clams, Danzo said in response. By the way, thanks for that 100-year-old lightning. How did you know that I'm a wine collector? We have good eyes, said another voice. Of course you would, Danzo said. It is so funny to see her shake. But I think this has gone on for too long. It's starting to have an impact on Ninja. We agree, said the first one. Danzo-san, you should have seen Naruto-kun's face when he got back. He hasn't had this much fun in a while. Haku came out of the shadows and moved closer. Hinata said, with a rose tucked into her hair, even we have enjoyed it. Again, we thank you for your help. It was fun to do, Danzo said with a smile. And with the help of the Fuma clan, it was easier than most people would have thought. Tell me how things are going with the new estates. It goes well, Haku said. It's very traditional, and they thought it would be better if it looked a little like a feudal mansion. It does look very nice. I am happy. I have to go get ready because no one has said no to the invitation, which is not a surprise. I'll lose face if I don't look nice, or even worse, if I don't show up. He bowed to them and left. We're surprised, Hinata said. For someone who has been trained to kill, he's kind of nice. Haku told her, like Naruto says, that's work. Let's go, isn't your fitting soon? Oh no, we forgot. Hinata ran out of there, and Haku laughed as he followed. Naruto walked in and felt everyone's eyes on him and, almost more important, on the bottle he was holding. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, he said. Naruto went to the table he had set up earlier with several sake glasses on it and slowly unwrapped the bottle. It wasn't a clay sake bottle, but a double magnum wine bottle with 3 liters of pure, almost holy sake. Naruto took his time setting up the glasses and then popping the cork. He lifted the first glass and was about to pour when he noticed that followed the movement of the bottle. He moved the bottle left and then right and saw that they still followed. Everyone but Inuzuka Sume was polite enough to blush. Damn right, I can't wait to try it. Naruto laughed and poured the drinks. Well, since you were honest, you can have the first taste, he said, pushing the glass toward Tsunade. She had to hold back from yelling at him, but when she got her drink, she was happy again. Like Naruto thought, Danzo took his time to smell and taste it. Those who only drank a glass or 2 a week did the same. Heavy drinkers, like one Hokage, started to gulp it down. Do we need to remind you that there is only 1 glass for each of you? She stopped and almost choked on her food. As he popped the cork, Inuzuka calmly walked over to him. I know what this is, she said. Have you? You're taking advantage of the shortage to make people grateful to you. The bar was also open. Are we really doing that? And we're surprised that word spread so quickly. Sume smiled and laughed at him. And a little payback for being put in that situation, he said. Just 1. The bottle was still half full, so everyone agreed with her. Still, I appreciate the gesture, she told him, setting her empty glass on the table before bending down to look at him. You're a little young, but I'm sure Hana wouldn't mind. And we're sure our current girlfriends would, Naruto told her with a wry smile. Besides, she'll have to wait her turn. Naruto turned to the others and asked, so, is it worth giving? Jiraiya, who had gotten a glass and some of the smooth liquor, said, that and more. Naruto turned around, saw that his own glass was gone, and looked back at him. He didn't even notice. I'm not a Sannin for nothing, he said with a wry smile. Then we're putting security on our sake, Naruto told him, which made the man curse because he was already planning to steal from him. No one touches it until the weddings, he said as he closed the bottle, gathered up the glasses, and got ready to leave. Have you decided who the best man will be? Hiyashi asked. Naruto paused for a moment. Actually, we have. Because we want our friend Kiba to be there when we marry Hinata-chan. Shino is for Haku-chan. How can you do that to my son? Sum's face dropped. Because he is our friend and loves Hinata almost as much as we do. If anything were to happen to us, we want him to be the one to take care of her. Same thing with my son? Asked Shibi. Yes, said Naruto. I'm surprised that he didn't ask Uchiha, Kaharu said. I've heard that you two have become friends. We are, but a part of us is still from when we were in the academy. We still remember the insults and fights that happened over taijutsu. Forgiven, yes, but not remembered. Well, whatever the case, we have to ask Sarutobi-san something if no one else is there. He will give Haku-chan to someone else. Who is it that you're waiting for? The Mizukage, said Naruto. We wish you all a good night. Why not? Asked Homura as he sat down. He seems to get everything else he wants. You make it sound like he gets it all for free, Danzo told them. I thought he had earned everything he has. He has, said Tsunade. Right now, we need to talk about something very important. How can we get him more of that? Danzo shook his head to show he didn't agree. Naruto pulled at his collar. He was nervous, which he felt stupid about because he had fought and defeated 5S rank ninja and lived. He shouldn't be nervous about this, but he had a bad feeling every time he looked at Zabuza, who was wearing his uniform and sharpening his sword. Shino said, Naruto, you're worrying about nothing. He was now wearing a kimono, but Naruto couldn't get him to take off his sunglasses. Many people couldn't believe how good he looked without that coat covering him up. We know, but we can't settle down. What if we make mistakes? Naruto was wearing a black kimono. As expected, he had sewn a spider on the back of this one, too. No one but Naruto knew that this was a kimono, mostly because they had never thought otherwise. Kiba stepped up to him and straightened Naruto's clothes. If my aunt had a beard, she would be my uncle, he said. You better make her happy, you smug motherfucker. Thank you, Kiba, Naruto said. If anything ever comes up. He stopped. You better not die, Kiba said. If you do and make Hinata cry, I will break through the gates of hell just to kick your ass. It's a three-headed dog that guards the gates, Naruto said with a small laugh. Are we in good shape? No, said Kiba without any doubt. Shino told Naruto, you look fine, and when have you ever done something wrong? What happened last week? Earlier than that one by a few hours. Or. Shut up, said Kiba. Now it's easy, we just go to the front of the line. I take a right turn. You turn around after bowing to the priest. Haku comes up with Momichi Zabuza. Before he shows you Haku, he might make a silent threat. They bow to you, and you bow to them. Then you take her hand and walk her down the island while Zabuza moves to the left. When you get there, the ceremony to clean you will happen. Then you will drink 3 times from each of the 3 cups of sake. Then you both said you would live together. Forever. God damn it, I'm going to need some sake after this. Naruto put his hand on his friend's shoulder and said, Kiba, there's no one else we'd rather have do this. Come on, we all skipped class. I'm sure. I just always thought that I would walk down the aisle and you would stare death in the face. We have to get ready now. Hinata is number 1. When the music started, Naruto's heart went up into his throat. When he looked ahead, he saw that the Sarutobi clan was taking the place of his family. He really had to thank the old man. To the left was the Hyuga clan. Both of them were already facing each other, and they wouldn't look at the bride and groom until they finished the sake. Kiba laughed and said, never thought it would be you first. You just never know, Naruto said. There were at least 100 people in front of him, near the part of the island that led to the priest. Thanks, Kiba, we owe you. Then let's go, Naruto said. He and Kiba started walking and stopped before the carpet leading into the shrine. Kiba whispered, "Good luck, dog," before walking off to the right. Naruto bowed to the priest, who returned it before turning around. He saw Hiyashi, also dressed in a black kimono, walking Hinata down the aisle to them. She was dressed in white from head to toe, and her head was bowed. Hiyashi and Hinata stopped, and Naruto bowed to them. Hiyashi was a little stiff about it, but he returned it with Hinata. Naruto hoped it was just because they were giving Hinata away so young. He would breathe a sigh of relief when Hiyashi told him it was. Naruto and Hinata stood before a table next, with 3 saucers on it, 1 large, 1 medium, and 1 small. Sake was poured into the first and given to Hinata. She took her drinks and passed it to Naruto, who followed. When the 3 were all drank from, Kiba stepped forward again. He gave Naruto the rings before stepping back. He slid Hinata's ring onto her hand, before Hinata did to him. After turning around, Naruto took a piece of paper out of his robes and opened it. "We are no longer a single person, a single thought. We have to do everything for 2 now. Because we are now joined as one soul. Naruto Uzumaki." Hinata took the paper and said, "And Uzumaki Hinata." When they got back to the shrine, they both brought a branch from a sacred Sakari tree as another offering. The Hyuga and Sarutobi drank sake together as a promise to be loyal to each other. Naruto sighed when the first one was finally over. Then he reached behind Hinata and kissed her as deeply as he could. "We love you." Hinata said, "We love you," and then she put her head on his chest. Naruto's wedding to Haku was exactly the same, and it went off without a hitch, even though he thought he heard Zabuza growl at him. He gave Haku the same deep kiss and told her he loved her, but he was glad it was over. He'd much rather be out of sight than the center of attention. Naruto was able to dance with both of them at the reception thanks to Kage Bunshin. He also let Shino and Kiba dance with them. He smiled when he saw how busy the bar was. When the bride and best man danced, he pointed to Kimimaro and said, "We think she's been through enough. Tell the Fuma family that tonight is their last." He nodded. "There will be a lot of people who aren't happy, even if they have all the sake they could want. But you should be having fun and not worrying about the clan right now, Naruto." Naruto agreed and went to get his wives back because he still had to do the main dance. Kiba and Shino, "We're sorry, but we think we have to take them back now." "Are you afraid that we might try to take them from you?" asked Kiba. "You could try," Naruto said, "but you might fail." "But you're probably thinking it, Kiba." Naruto made another clone, and both of them held the hands of their wives. He looked into both of their eyes and realized how lucky he was, and he would fight anyone who said they shouldn't be with him. Naruto avoided the things that were being thrown at him as he walked down the hall. Not what he had in mind when he asked Shadow for something to do. He was a prison guard in his game. As he walked by the newest cell, a catcall made him stop. He gave the prisoner a mean look. "We can handle being hit with piss and shit. If you do it again, we'll kill you." The person in jail smiled. He was a big, strong guy who stood almost 7 feet tall and weighed 200 pounds. "That's a shame. I was trying to get your attention, even though I'm not interested in the young ones." "Good. What would you like?" "What you want, not what I want. You must be getting tired of this by now." "I am. If you give me something, I might get rid of it." "Who exactly are you?" He smiled once more. "Say, call me Leroy." Naruto rubbed the bandage on his cheek. "We've noticed that you're in a cell by yourself. Must be lonely in there." Leroy looked sad. "Yeah, well, what of it? What if we send someone with you?" "That's all right." Leroy gave another smile. "Kid, you've got yourself a partner." He knocked 3 times on his bar. The first one has a long space between it and the next one. After that, there is no space. The results came right away. Stop saying mean things and doing other things. You can throw a lot of weight. You've got a month, Leroy told Naruto. Lord Naruto, Kimimaro said that night when he called. How strange. I know he went home with Lady Hinata and Haku. I'm curious about. Oh, well. He looked at the papers he was holding. They were about what the Uzumaki, Fuma, and Kagaya clans did every day. I did tell him to take it easy today. He went to the house's study and looked at the first form there. It was a request to cut down some trees or buy more wood to build with. That one's easy. Naruto liked those trees because he could hide in them and swing from them. What's next? Ask for permission to build several underground bunkers to store things and use in case of emergencies. It's okay. Ask for permission to build a branch house for the Kagaya. Huh? He didn't use that one. Information about the 9 Jinchuriki that can't be shared. It's an emergency. Before he looked at it again, Kagaya put that down with the other. Only 5 Jinchuriki were there. He accidentally picked up the one under it, too, and ran to where he thought Naruto would be. Haku was rubbing Naruto's ears with his hand. Since they got home, they had just been lying in bed and taking it easy. Hinata was curled up next to him while he slept with his head on her lap. All of them agreed that they were not ready for that part, but... well, at least they would sleep in the same bed. She bent down and gave him a kiss. He opened his eyes slowly and grinned. Good evening, she told him. If only we could wake up like that every day. He looked down at Hinata, who was still asleep, and did his best to stretch. We really want to wake up like this every morning. When someone kept knocking on the door, he made a sad face. Come inside and keep it down. Kimimaro walked in slowly, as if he didn't want to see something he shouldn't. We are still dressed. He turned around. I'm sorry to bother you, but this just came from the Fuma Information Network. I thought it was time. He gave him the papers and then waited on the side of the room. When Naruto saw the cover, he knew something was wrong. He was told by Akatsuki that there were 5 wild Biju. He took a look at it after opening it. Sabaku no Gara. Ichibi Shukaku, says Biju. Suna is where we are right now. Ni Yugito, says Jinchuriki. Nibi Nekomata, says Biju. Kumo is where we are right now. Nami is the Jinchuriki. Sambi Isenade, says Biju. Sea Country is where you are right now. Beware, this Jinchuriki has been caught and is being used in experiments. Chances of living a long time are slim. Rushi is the Jinchuriki. Yanbi Soko, says Biju. Right now, you are in East Fire Country. Kemari is Jinchuriki. Gobi Koko, says Biju. Right now, you are in East Fire Country. Gogyu is a Jinchuriki. Rokubi Reiju is Biju. Right now, you are somewhere between water and wave. Sabun is the Jinchuriki. Shichibi Kaku is a Biju. Waterfall is where you are right now. B Kira, Killer Bee, is a Jinchuriki. Hachibi Yamada is Biju. Kumo is where we are right now. Naruto Uzumaki is the Jinchuriki. Kyuubi has no Yuko. Right now, they are in Konoha. This can't happen. What could Akatsuki have done wrong? Don't they live for this? Perhaps the sources are wrong, said Kimimaro. Naruto looked at each of the pictures. He didn't have to look at his own picture, but he did look at the others. Everyone else besides Gaara, Nami, and Rushi. Before he put them down, he saw something small on Gaara. He looked like a raccoon dog with those rings around his eyes. His own picture looked like a fox. He turned to the picture of Yugito. She had eyes like cats. Nami's neck had 3 marks that looked like gills. Rushi's face had marks from the tail. Kemari had teeth like a wolf. Gogyu looked like a weasel, and his hair was so spiky that it almost looked like lightning. Sabun had almost dog-like eyes. Because it was a little dark in this picture of her, and her eyes were glowing. Kira had a tattoo on his face of bullhorns that Naruto didn't think was a tattoo anymore. No, it's the Akatsuki who are getting it wrong. How could they not know that Nami was about to die? He got out from under Hinata, which was a shame. Naruto kissed her as she shook her head, trying to figure out what was going on. Hinata-chan, Haku-chan, we're sorry. We have to help her, though. Haku got up and said, we're going with you, which made Kimimaro blush. She was still wearing clothes, but it was just her nightgown. Naruto was about to say something, but she stopped him with a look. Haku told them, you're not going to the beach without us. Even though she knew it wasn't because of that. Kimimaro, we're about to change, so get out. I didn't ask for it. He left quickly. Hinata sat up and rubbed her eyes as she got out of bed. What are we missing? We just found out about the Jinchuriki from a report. Hinata, do you remember when we told you that the Kyuubi was sealed inside us? Yes. Well, we just found out there are 8 others, and one of them is going to die soon, which will free hers. That would be bad, said Hinata with wide eyes. She jumped out of bed and went into the shower in the master bedroom. Let us have 5 minutes. When Naruto saw the second form, he was about to jump in himself. He didn't even know that plans were being made for the Kagaya clan. He tried to figure out why they would ask that, and then he remembered that he and Yakumo had been talking easily. The Kurama might have been trying to get his friend in second? Well, that wouldn't be terrible. And since Kimimaro is the leader of one branch of the Uzumaki clan, that would still make them related to him. Just not with his skills. He laughed and said, no, that can't be it. He put it in his outbox after signing it. Even here, he didn't like having to have one, but there was always something that needed to be taken care of. As soon as Haku got out of the shower, he jumped in. He loved the view, so he started to scrub himself clean. He was happy to see that his tan was coming back on his arms now that he wasn't wearing his bodysuit. When he was done, he took the time and care to make sure that Venom was also clean. Then he got out and dried himself off. Venom put on his hunter outfit and looked out the window of his room. Haku and Hinata were both wearing clothes that looked the same. All of them left with a nod. Kimimaro, tell Hanzaki to start searching for the people in our bingo book. And tell him that the Jinchuriki is great. As they ran away, Kimimaro gave a salute. On the beach of the Land of Sea, Naruto, Haku, and Hinata stood together. We are sorry that we had to cut our honeymoon short, Naruto told them. We will finish it here, Haku told him. First, though, we need to find Nami. Venom-kun, you were sent here for a reason, right? Yes, we did. They all looked out at the water at the same time. Come on out, Naruto said. We are aware of that presence. Naruto's neck was grabbed by a hand that reached out. He rolled his eyes, grabbed it, and squeezed hard enough to break the bones in the hand. He then pulled, pulling the person out of the water with the limb. You played on the same team as Kabuto. I was. Do I? The Black Spider of Konoha, of course. Is that you, Naruto? Masumi did ask. Haku told him, we don't think you're here by chance, traitor. Why? Yoroi, where are your friends? Masumi was happy. He's close by. Even though they were wearing masks, he could tell they were not laughing. Naruto made a long knife and stuck it into his arm. This was his first clue. Come on out, Akadu Yoroi, Naruto told him. Really, it's sad. You two are so weak that you were only marked as missing ninjas as a formality. Out of the sand came 2 hands that grabbed Hinata and Haku's feet. Yoroi said, let him go, or I'll kill them. Naruto told him, both noted. What do you think your chances are? We killed Orochimaru and 4 other ninjas with the S rank. I have your friends as hostages, Yoroi said in response. Feel free to try, Naruto sighed. We hope you don't get hurt too badly. A moment later, Masumi's eyes got bigger behind his glasses as they heard loud, sharp snaps, and then Yoroi roared in pain. Naruto asked him nicely, what are you doing here again? Bodyguards for an Orochimaru-sama scientist. And what would his experiments be? He's trying to make something like a super soldier. Can move freely above and below water. They have more strength and can breathe underwater. How? Asked Haku. Yoroi tried to swallow down the pain. He won't say what it is. Just that it had to have a lot of security. He also said that they wouldn't need it for long. Nami, said Naruto. So Nami is with this doctor? Who? Isaribi is the only person we know of. Who is that? Haku asked. A girl, an orphan, Masumi told them. The doctor took her, and she was the first subject to live through an experiment. Where is she, and where is this lab? On a beach. This one has Isaribi on it. She was told that he would heal her if she helped him. A lie, no doubt, Haku said. It is, replied Yoroi. He has no plans to do anything like that. Naruto asked, where is she? She lives 2 miles south of here on the beach. Naruto started to look him over. What exactly are you looking for? Your scarves. At this point, Haku and Hinata started looking for Yoroi. They asked, why? He doesn't have it, said Hinata. Where are they? Naruto asked. Our rooms are in the center. Yoroi asked again, why do you want them? You are missing ninja, Naruto told Masumi before putting his hand on her shoulder and putting his thumb under her chin. Masumi looked at his hand before his neck bent in a way that a human neck shouldn't. But we answered your questions, Yoroi told him. You did, said Naruto. He told Hinata and Haku, no, that's not your job. Hinata said, this is something else we should know about you, Venom-kun. You won't do that, that's the truth. No, neither you nor Serum. He looked at Yoroi, who all of a sudden saw himself being killed by this boy. If you want to kill me, do it already. Naruto turned his head to look at him and then shook it. Not you, Yoroi. When you left, you really screwed up. I have a very important request from the mother of a boy you killed when you ran away. Serum, the truth is that you need to leave. But. Go. This will be one of those terrible things. He reached down and grabbed Yoroi by his collarbone. His fingers turned into claws to make sure he got a good grip. He lifted him up so he could look into his eyes. Namiyashi did not like the fact that you killed their son to get away. When he asked me to help him out if I ever ran into you, I couldn't say no. Truth, Serum, get out of here right away and find Isaribi and where this island is. We're going to spend some quality time with you, Yoroi. As Naruto's claws came out from under the bone, the man made a face. For their son, who is 8 years old. Don't give me this holy crap, he snarled. Just go ahead and do it. I don't plan to have fun with this. This is the last time we will say it, Serum. He started walking out onto the water, dragging him behind him. What he was about to do was covered by the Enmu no Jutsu. Hinata swallowed because she didn't want to leave, but truth told her to go. Haku, who stood next to her, heard the same thing and felt the same way. She wanted to love all of Naruto, no matter what. But he was not letting them. Why? Serum told her. That he wasn't facing it himself, and that he was hiding from it with his mask. That's why he wore it to battle. That was always the case with Venom. Let's go find her. Isaribi hung her head and asked, "You mean I can never be human again?" "No," said Truth. "Konoha is home to the best doctor in the world. She is the only one who can make you feel like you did before. But we need to find someone here before we can go back. Someone that the man who did this to you is holding." There was silence for a few minutes in Isaribi. Island of Kikai. On the north side of the island, there is an underwater entrance that I used to get in. Serum put a comforting hand on her shoulder. "Many thanks. We'll get her and do everything we can to help you get back to the way you were." Isaribi jumped when someone knocked on the door. Truth and Serum, however, stayed on their knees. "Come on in, Venom." Isaribi looked at Venom as it walked in. He washed the blood off, and he could tell that the girl was already scared enough. "In what?" "Kikai," said Serum. "We can get in through a door that's underground." "Who else watches over Amachi?" Isaribi told him, "No one but the person who sent him." She was sitting on the ground and looking down. But she looked up when Venom knelt by her. "Stop crying. Even though things are bad now, they will get better soon." He got back on his feet and looked at Truth and Serum. "We have to leave." The other two got back up and left as one. Then Isaribi let her body shake from fear. All three of them scared her with how they talked, moved, and even sat. Naruto jumped into the water, and before he could even think about holding his breath, Venom made gills on his neck. "Truth, call some sharks and tell them to find any way out." She cut her hand and pressed the blood 3 times on the water's surface. The first shark was a hammerhead, the second was a tiger shark, and the third was a mako. The hammerhead asked the summoner, "How can we help you?" "There's a person we're looking for on that island over there. The only way in or out is through an underwater tunnel. Find that tunnel and any others. If you see a human male, hold him and bring him to us." The 3 swam away. Hinata smiled behind her mask. "We're so happy we signed that contract," she said as she jumped into the water. "Still need to find someone for Tiger though," Haku said as she followed her. "Kimimaro, maybe," said Hinata. They were swimming close to the island when the water and the current started to fight against them. They moved back and waited for a while. Isaribi said that the summoning she talked about was water. "We've got this," Haku said. He swam forward again and felt the water pulling on him. She put out a hand, and the tendrils grew out of it until they hit something harder than the water around her. As she cut through the water, that stem turned into a sword. It broke up, but it didn't go away. They took advantage of the chance and swam toward the island. First, the mako found them. "Mistress, the tunnel is over here. Grab a hold." When they did, it moved so fast they couldn't believe it and got to the tunnel in a minute. "I'm going to keep patrolling. Good luck." Hinata said, "Thank you," and scratched a spot above his eye. They went in, and when they got to the surface of the water, 3 clones of symbionts came out to look around. When they didn't see anyone, they went back and pulled their friend out of the water. "We will find Amachi," said Naruto. "Then we will look for his papers," Haku said. "Hinata, go find Nami." "We will," she replied with a nod. The 3 people went through the door and went their separate ways. Hinata started by looking in the rooms where people slept. When she found the Yoroi and Masumi headbands, she put them on her arm and kept going. When she didn't find anyone, she went to the pens. When she got too close to one, the creature inside lunged at her. It was so bad that it could no longer be called human. This poor person wasn't even an animal, so Isaribi was very lucky. After taking a look around, she went to a door that had several chains on it. Truth showed her on the inside, through the crack, that there was a table with a girl sitting on it. The heart monitor on her was going crazy. Hinata stood back up, grabbed the door, and pulled it apart as she stood. She went inside to see what was written. To put it simply, she was dying. Truth, heal her. We can't let Isanade go free. As soon as she let go of the symbiont, an alarm went off. The doors to the cages behind her opened, letting the monsters inside out. When Hinata saw them, she made a copy of Truth to help her heal while she took care of them. "We think you're Dr. Amachi," Naruto said when he found him. "A hunter ninja from Konoha. Why are you here?" "As you can see, I'm not a ninja. No matter what, we are here for you in part. You see, Doctor, you are going to get a long prison sentence for crimes against humanity." "Really? For how long and by whom?" "Every country on the continent has thought that you should be locked up for about 50 years. "Wow, 50 years? That's a long time to be single." Behind his mask, Naruto smiled. "You know, we thought about that, so we talked to our friend Leroy. He agreed to take you under his wing, show you the ropes, and take really good care of you." Amachi laughed in a dry way. "I guess that takes care of the B*TCH. So. 50 years of that, eh? I wouldn't live to get out. So I guess killing you would be free then." He raised a remote, and an iron wall surrounded him. A few seconds later, Naruto heard the sounds of a beast growling. When this 12-foot-tall creature walked in with its knuckles dragging on the floor and its teeth showing, Naruto shook his head. This wasn't even a warm-up after Deidara and Sasori. Still, he pulled his swords and faced the charge. It swung one of its claws at Naruto, but he slid under it. He swung his cage kiri at it and cut off one of its legs. Naruto cut off its head as it fell. "Your debt has been paid," Naruto said in his normal prayer. He prayed that Kami would be kind to his soul. The iron door behind him slid down, and Amachi threw a kunai at him. Naruto dove, caught it, and gave it back. Amachi fell to the ground when it hit him. Naruto stood back up and put his swords back on his back before walking over to him. "I'm still alive," said Amachi as he took the knife out of his pocket. "Which can mean two things," Naruto said. 1. We have bad aim. 2. We have good aim and really want you to meet Leroy. I think it might be the second one." "So you are smart enough to be a doctor," Naruto said as he reached down to pick him up. After getting out of the Juken stance, Hinata took a deep breath. She stepped over the bodies to get back to Nami and put her hand back on her stomach. The clone was absorbed back into Truth, and the real symbiont took its place. Nami's heart rate was back to normal in a short time. Hinata took away the needles and IV that were giving her painkillers. "Hey, you need to wake up," said Hinata, shaking her. Nami's ninja instincts kicked in, and she tried to hit Hinata in the head with her fist. But what held her back stopped her. Hinata told her, "We're here to get you out of here." Nami moaned as she felt a headache coming on. "Prove it," she told him. "Or kill me right now." Hinata asked. "You're a ninja from Kiri, right?" "Yes, before that jerk gave me away as a slave." "Then I have good news about him. The Mizukage you knew is dead. Momichi Zabuza is now the Mizukage, and his apprentice is here with us." Haku. She tried to sit up, but the restraints stopped her before she could. "My head hurts like hell." Hinata told her, "The drugs are no longer being pumped into your body. Let's get you off this thing," she said. So she untied them and helped her stand up. "He really messed you up," she said. She was 1 year older than the girl. "Come on, let's go. We'll meet up with my teammates and then go back to the island to rest up before we leave." Nami nodded, already tired from not moving for a while. Hinata went to a place where the wall to the outside was very thin. She punched it, which broke it open and let air in. Soon after, Haku, Naruto, and Amachi, who was tied, came out. Naruto asked, "Got everything, Serum?" She said, "Right here," pointing to a briefcase. She looked at Nami next. "Holy crap, why didn't I recognize you sooner?" Venom-kun, this is Nami. We remember her from before Zabuza-sama tried to take Kirigakure the first time. I never thought you were a Jinchuriki, though. I've missed you, too, my friend, she said, trying not to yawn. When are we going? Naruto told them, we go back to get Isaribi, then we go back to Konoha, and from there we go to the beach. And you, Amachi, meet Leroy, he said. The old man groaned, already upset that his private parts had been touched. Konoha? But you're a mist nin. Haku put a finger over her mouth to make her stop talking. No, we are now a leaf, and we are married. Let's go. Amachi stood still, but Naruto pushed him forward without any trouble. Please don't do this. I'll do anything. Don't? Do you know how hard we worked to make this happen? You should be happy, because Leroy will take good care of you, like we said. Please. Lukey here, boys, we got ourselves a screamer, said one of the prisoners. Hey, what cell is he going to? Asked one of them. Leroy's, he said in response. Some sighed, and others cheered. And while we're at it, Leroy. Hey, Naruto. Is there a new guest? Naruto was happy. Yeah, new guest. Leroy, this is Amachi. He was really worried about going to prison, so I told him you would watch out for him, take care of him, and make sure he was nice and cozy. I even put him in the same cell as you. Can you watch out for him, please? Leroy laughed and threw his head back. Yeah, I think I can do that. When the cell door opened, Naruto pushed him inside, and the door shut again. Before he left, Naruto told them, see you later, Leroy, and enjoy your time here, Amachi. Oh God. Was the last thing he heard before the cell block door shut behind him. Naruto didn't like being tortured, but he wasn't going to worry about it this time. I always thought you were an orphan, Nami said as she finished another bowl of ramen. I mean, you've never had anyone but Zabuza back in water. They all died, Haku said. I guess you didn't get good food there. Not at all. I'm surprised the seal didn't break. Can I have another bowl of sushi ramen, please? And a shrimp, too? Tucci looked at Haku, who gave him a nod. We'll pay for it. Zabuza is still here from the wedding. When do you want to see him? Ah. She put the noodles in her mouth with a slurping sound. Later, after I eat. This is really good. I haven't had fish in so long that it almost hurts. She drank the broth and stopped for a moment to let her stomach settle. Before she grabbed her cup of tea, threw it back, and started on her next bowl. Haku asked her. Have you heard of Akatsuki? Akatsuki. Yeah, those jerks. Black cloak, red clouds. Rushi warned us about them. Rushi or us? Ah, yeah, you see, Haku, all 9 Biju were sealed away. And Rushi, the man with the 4 tails, found out that someone was out to get us, but no one knew where. So, you see, he made it seem like, for the most part, they were still wild. A few more days, and Isanade would have been free again. She realized what she was saying and looked at Tucci. Don't worry about me, he told her with a smile. I've had a Jinchuriki as a customer for 6 years now. When it comes to how much you can eat, you can't even come close to him. Wow, that's amazing. Who is he? My husband, said Haku. She got close to him and said, Uzumaki Naruto. The word is Venom. No. Really? Him? Yes. You said Rushi made them think the third was a wild Biju, right? Yes. He knew that Kisame was a part of Akatsuki, that big scumbag. He knew and... Haku looked at the counter and said, Kisame. Why hasn't he told them? That was his sword, right? She asked Haku. When he said yes, she swallowed the lump in her throat. She was suddenly no longer hungry. She pushed her bowl back and said, "This was good, thank you." Haku put the money down for it, and they left without saying anything. When Nami spoke again, they were on their way to the Uzumaki home. What else has he done? He killed Orochimaru, Itachi, Deidara, and Sasori, all of whom were part of the Akatsuki. Nami swallowed once more. Haku was already nodding when he said, "And he is also." "I think now would be a good time to talk to Zabuza-sama." Haku nodded again. Zabuza stared at Nami as if she were a ghost coming back to life. That was a surprise. I bet Naruto had something to do with it. He did, Haku said to make sure. Zabuza-sama, Naruto and I have been meaning to tell you something, but we haven't found the right time. What? Kisame attacked us, Mizukage-sama, Naruto said. He had joined a group of ninja who were after the Jinchuriki. We are the Jinchuriki for the Kyuubi. Zabuza gritted his teeth. He didn't need to ask why this was important to him. We were here, but Kisame wasn't. Where's he? Naruto said, I put him in a scroll and gave it to Haku-chan. When Zabuza looked at her, she got up, went back to her room, and brought it back out. She put it on the ground and let him go. Zabuza got on his knees next to his friend and shook his head. Damn fool, he always took on more than he could handle. He is still warm. Naruto took off his ring and put it on the palm of his hand. Because we sealed him up right after we killed him. Physically, he had just died. Haku's eyes got bigger. Then we should seal him up again. Both of them were confused by her. Why? Asked Nami. Because if we fix the damage, there is a chance we can bring him back to life. Zabuza gave it a moment of thought. Well, but he hurt your husband. And made sure that Akatsuki didn't know Nami was still alive. Let's search him first, then we'll do it. But we won't try until Akatsuki is dead, so he has a chance to go back, Naruto and Haku said as they looked him over. But all they found was a picture of Itachi with his mouth wide open while Sasuke talked to Sakura and Kakashi from behind him. Done, Naruto said when he put him back inside and sealed it again. He took the scroll in his hands and showed it to Zabuza. Bring him back when you are ready for him again, and Tsunade-Kasen will heal him. Zabuza took it and put it in the pocket of his robes. Thanks, Naruto, for taking care of that. I know it's not in. Naruto told him, it's okay. We're happy to help a friend, and especially a family member. You can stay a few more days if you want to give Nami more time to get her strength back. Zabuza gave him a nod. Thanks, and what are those headbands doing on the counter? We've found some missing ninja, he said. He walked over and picked them up. He would talk about Deidara with the ambassador of Iwa. And Sasori and his headband would be sent to Suna. He will give Masumi and Yoroi to the bounty office at the Anbu headquarters. Once our leave is over, we'll have plenty of time for it, he said, stretching his back and popping it a few times. That's why we prefer web-slinging it that doesn't have to happen that way. He groaned as he twisted his back and then went to find Kimimaro. Without a doubt, he had a lot of things to do. After that, we would go to bed. Hinata was there already. We'll see you in a while. Venom swung from branch to branch as he jumped from one to the next. This time, his mark was very important. That made him laugh. When he found the man's trail, he was going to meet Rushi. That was the only thing left on his bingo book leaf list. Aoi Rokusho. He hated that he had to put off meeting the four-tailed Jinchuriki yet again. But he wasn't going to let this chance pass. He got his web around a tree and pulled. He turned around it, and it threw him up in the air. He could not get away from that traitor. Aoi was a Jonin, so he knew something was wrong. And the feeling that there was literally nothing out there screamed that there was. He took out his short sword first because he didn't need to show everyone who he was with the other one. Come out, I know you are in there. V very veniversum vivus vici, a boy in all black, except for the blue sword on his back and the white spider on his chest, said as he fell to the ground. His mask was also black, except for 2 white slanted patches over his eyes. By the power of truth, I have conquered the universe while I was still alive. You said something similar the day you left, didn't you? You stole that sword, betrayed a home that would have killed to protect you just like anyone else there, and shamed a boy who looked up to you for guidance. Aoi said. Hunter Nin Venom, with a smile. We are, said Venom, bowing. Tell us, before we beat the living hell out of you and the 3 worthless genin you have waiting, take back the sword of the Nindam, and take you all to Konoha to be questioned, will you save us time and surrender? The 3 genin jumped into the clearing, surprised that they had been seen so easily. Sensei, asked the leader of the 3. We are not going to Konoha, Aoi said to Venom. And so I cover my bare wickedness with old odd ends stolen from holy writing, and I look like a saint when I'm usually playing the devil. Aoi threw away the useless sword he was holding because this opponent was too strong for it. He took out the Raijin no Ken and showed the boy the glowing blade. Most of them were scared of the weapon that now lit up the clearing. But the boy in front of him didn't show any of those things. He lived up to the name, Hunter Ninja. Oboro, join the fight when you see a chance and leave just as quickly. We are often to blame for this.
It has been shown too often that with a look of devotion and good deeds, we can do more than the devil himself.
What does that mean? Oboro looked at Aoi. Aoi choked when he realized that he had just killed them. Naruto used the Enmu no Jutsu in the Cage Bunshin. He said, I got his attention on you, and he is about to deal with you. The sounds of people fighting and blood hitting the ground. Aoi cut through the darkness and saw the genin on their knees with their eyes wide and their heads in the Cage Kiri's blade edge eye. Do you think that will make it any easier for you to beat me? No, said Venom as the real one took a step forward. That is to remind them that if they do anything, we will kill them. Because in the end, we only want you. They are expendable assets, which they must be realizing right now. He pulled the Samahata from his back while still holding the Cage Kiri. Give up, you don't know who we are. That is easy, Aoi said as he got into a fighting stance. From the way you talk, I think you are the demon brat. That was the only thing that gave you away. Under his mask, Naruto smiled. He was wondering if any of the Leaf Nukenin would figure it out. You are the first one to get it. We would enjoy this, but you are not a Uchiha. Aoi snarled, this is the Raijin no Ken, and whoever holds it is unbeatable. Ah. No, said Naruto. It's strong, but we can tell from your stance that you don't know how to use it right. He threw away the Cage Kiri and held the Samahata in both hands. That sounds like a boy saying he is strong because he is a Uchiha. Did we ever get that idea out of his head? Naruto ran forward and stabbed with the huge blade. Aoi used his sword to block the sloppy thrust. I guess I was wrong. What the hell? The Raijin no Ken flickered on and off for a moment before coming back together. We're not just the Hunter Nin Venom. We're also one of only 2 people in Konoha who can use a Zanbatsu. This blade is called the Chakra Eater, Samahata, and even though the Nindaim's sword is strong, it's just a chakra blade. Naruto came back in, no longer playing. He made a wide cut that almost split Aoi in 2. But he dodged again and jumped back, which saved his life. Naruto raised the sword, spun it around, and stabbed again. Even so, Samahata was hurt less by the smaller blade. It could move faster and be more flexible. Far from it being true that Naruto swung it slowly. A few seconds later, Naruto moved forward 2 feet and did another side slash. As Aoi was about to move, Naruto brought his arms into his chest, which were spread out. It takes a lot of energy for something to move away from the main body. And energy can't be made or broken down. So, to make up for that, the sword moved faster than it had before. The flat of the blade hit Aoi and threw him to the side. But he had hit the boy in the arm when his sword slipped out of his hands. Aoi laughed as he stood back up and put the Raijin no Ken back in his pouch before grabbing the Samahata. Now, not only do I have two of the most powerful weapons in the world, but your arm is lamed. Naruto asked, and why would that be? It's not hurt, he showed him by putting his arms up. There's one more thing about that sword. It's alive and tied to us until we lose. It doesn't like it when other people try to use it, especially if they're new. If you would, Samahata. Aoi screamed in pain as the blades came out of the hilt and cut into his hands. When he let the heavy sword fall, the blades cut his hands even more. And we just made sure you can't fight back, they said. The blade hit a web, which caught it and brought it back to him. Now, before this gets worse, give up and we won't put you in a different cell with Leroy. Fuck you, said Aoi as he grabbed the Raijin and held it in front of him. There was only the handle, no blade. You're an idiot. Samahata ate your chakra, jackass. You can't use that sword because you don't have any chakra left. Naruto just walked over, took the weapon out of the trembling ninja's hands, and hit him in the head with the flat of Samahata, knocking him out. He put the Samahata on his back, put a small amount of chakra into the Raijin to make it work with him, and made a sword. It was called a Zanbatsu. He felt Samahata's displeasure when he said, "Niece. Don't worry, I'm just checking the sword's quality, but it would be a good match for you." He let go of the blade and held it to his belt, where Venom wrapped around it and held it in place. He looked at the new student. Still alive, we see, he said. With a snap of his fingers, he knocked out the other three. After making another copy of Aoi to carry her, he and Aoi turned to leave. We looked up and saw an old man leaning against a tree. Here I was wondering if I should deal with these for myself, and you do it for me. The old man turned his head to look at Naruto, and it was Rushi. He called you, demon brat, so I'm guessing you're a Jinchuriki. We are, Naruto said in reply. He took off his mask. And you are Rushi, the Jinchuriki of the Four Tails, right? Yes, I am. You must know a lot about me to know that. More so than you can imagine, Naruto said in response. Asking Akatsuki questions usually gives you a few hints. Let's walk while we talk, okay? The clones tied the ninjas to them with webbing and went ahead to make sure they didn't wake up and hear something they shouldn't. Okay, so how many? Naruto showed him the rings and said, 4 are active, and 1 is not. And those 4 are in for a few long weeks as they work with and from the hidden rain. You killed 5 people? Naruto told him, that includes the 2 who were after you and me. There were a total of 11. 10 were active, and 1 was controlling the scene from the shadows. By the way, we stopped Nami from being forced to let Isanade go. Rushi opened his eyes wide and asked, it was going to escape. Yes, Naruto said in answer. You see, the former Mizukage sold her as a slave, he said. We've been looking for you. We don't know what Akatsuki wants with the Biju, other than that the leader can control them, Rushi said. But we know he wants them for more than that. Rushi shook his head and said, I don't know. But since you fought and won against 5 of them, they can't be that strong. Hoshigaki Kisame, Uchiha Itachi and Madara, Sasori of Suna, Deidara of Iwa, and Orochimaru of Leaf, don't those sound strong to you? And then you killed them? All of them. He touched Samahata and said, this was Kisami's before we took it. He shook his head. Something doesn't feel right about the whole situation, though. Madara will come after us, we know that. What will happen then? He helped kill the Uchiha clan, which makes us wonder why. What did they have that was so important that they had to die? He shook his head again. That's why we need your help, Rushi-sama. You were able to make them think most of them were free. We can get the information, and you would know how to use it best. You could also talk to the others and find out who is safe, and who is a rogue in a village. Enough, you've convinced me, Rushi told him. I'll go with you. You wouldn't give me much a choice anyway. I knew Deidara, and the fact that you killed him scares me. Kyuubi looked out of his cage and said, no, these won't do. Yes, Naruto was strong. Yes, he was feared. But with his strength, those Akatsuki were the only ones who could beat him. Either physically, like the fight with the one from Sand and Rock, or mentally, like the ones from Mist and Leaf, or both, like he did with Orochimaru. Nothing was as hard as it used to be. Even though Naruto did what he was supposed to do, the memories he got in return weren't as tasty as those. Even more so when Carnage broke out and beat the snake. Carnage, can you hear me? The door that kept him locked away shook. You want to get out again, don't you? You want to kill those who stand in our way, don't you? The beating got harder. Then maybe we should talk, dear Spider, because I'm getting bored with this host and you're the most interesting option. His chakra leaked out of the cage but didn't join Naruto's body. It became a part of itself and went to the door. It tore it up, grabbed the symbiont, and put it in the cage. Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. Naruto and Rushi were just about to jump over the Valley of the End when something felt like it tore through his body. His clones had already gone back to Konoha and turned in the prisoners. Because of the pain, he had to pull his legs in and bend down. This threw off his jump and slammed him into the wall of the valley. He hit the ground and rolled for a while. Naruto, Rushi called, jumping down to meet him. What happened? Naruto didn't answer because he was too busy watching his hands turn red. Even though he tried to stop them, they made the hand seal for the cage bunshin, and one of them showed up in front of them. He was like Naruto in that he was very confused. He forced him to stand up with his red-covered hands, then hit Rushi so hard that he flew across the valley. Naruto grunted, what the hell is going on? He could only think that Venom was doing this, but he could also feel the symbiont fighting against it. He put his hands together in front of him and threw a red strand at the clone. The red then pulled itself out of the black and merged with the symbiont on the clone. As he fell to the ground and started flailing around, his face showed a lot of pain. But Naruto himself was the end of the pain. When they finally stopped, the clones had turned red. He got up and threw away the Samahata that was on his back. He then took the Raijin no Ken from his waist and tried to turn it on. It sent lightning to the clone, which made it frown. So the whole clan fights me, not just the older brother, his clone said. Naruto didn't know what his clone meant, but his eyes grew wide when he saw that the red was mostly replacing the black. So even if I took the original, I wouldn't use it. He looked at Naruto and saw that his eyes were now red, too. Maybe Samahata will listen to me if I beat you up though. Naruto pushed himself into his mind and went to the cell in an instant. When he got there, he was shocked to see that the seal over Carnage had been broken. He ran to the cage where the Kyuubi was and almost threw up. Kyuubi was sleeping on the floor and only had 5 tails. As he stood up, Naruto shook his head. Are you Kyuubi or Carnage? He asked with fear in his voice. I think that's because he was. His clone smiled evilly as the symbiont turned smooth, Carnage's mask covered his face, and tendrils came out of his body. Before, many of them were tied together to make 2 big fox ears on his head and 5 foxtails behind him. I am both. Ha ha ha. I am finally free from those cursed seals. He turned back to Naruto and grinned. We saw you still inside the cage, Naruto said. How are you going to get out or take over that clone, for that matter? Behind his mask, Kyuubi made a mean face. That, he spat on the ground with disgust, is because of this wonderful creature. Carnage let me leave by leaving something of myself behind and enter your body. There, I jumped over to this clone and took it over, making it very, very real. As long as you and my good half live, so do we. 5 tails. You left your good side and half your power to escape. I did, but it was worth it. With this body, I can continue my reign of destruction and get into better places to do it by pretending to be you. Naruto swallowed the clone and tried to kill it. But he wasn't very connected to it, so he couldn't feel it very far away. But he didn't need it to crush at least some of Kyuubi's hopes. Wrong. We guess what they say is true, that the body reflects the soul. Look at your reflection, he said. Kyuubi did it to be funny, but then he started to growl in anger. Naruto's face had changed so that it looked a lot more like a fox's, and his hair had turned red. He would never be able to do it. No matter what, Kyuubi said as he put his mask back on. And you can't do anything about it. We can kill you and destroy you, or we can send you back, Naruto growled as he grabbed the Samahata and the Kage Kiri. 2 Kage Kiri showed up in the claws of Kyuubi. We don't think so, pup, they said. Then they ran at each other and locked their swords together. Rushi finally got rid of the thought by shaking his head. He looked up and saw that Naruto's clone now looked like a fox with human features. And it finally made sense. The Kyuubi had used Kage Bunshin to find a way to get away. He stood up and quickly made a few hand signs. He took a deep breath and let it out along with lava. Naruto, we must put it back inside the seal. We know, Naruto yelled, ducking under the blade and attacking. He suddenly wished that he hadn't had the spider sense, which was impossible. Because Kyuubi had it now. They fought with their swords for several minutes, with neither of them getting the upper hand. What's wrong, Naruto? Kyuubi said, you can't beat me. Don't forget that I know all of your moves and abilities as well. He moved back and shot Rushi with a web. It surprised the Jinchuriki and drew him in for a hit. Kyuubi knew that Naruto would tackle him out of the way of the blade, and he was right. Naruto and Rushi rolled a few feet, and then he jumped up the cliff and out of sight. Kyuubi thought about going after them, but he decided against it because he no longer cared about them. He only wanted to kill as many people as possible. When he turned around, he was surprised to see that the Samahata he had just thrown away was still there. He broke the Raijin no Ken because he didn't care about it. He thought that the weapon was a copy of this body, just like this body was. He laughed. The key word was, had. He picked up the gun and put it on his back, where Carnage used a few strands to hold it in place. Then he started to leave Naruto and Konoha. Not only did they still have that cursed seal, but Naruto could die trying to stop him, and he probably would. The boy was still a part of his life. So Konoha was safe. At least for now. Rushi was glad to see him go as she let out a sigh. He's dead, Naruto, he told the boy. Naruto, he said as he looked at the boy and saw him holding his side where blood was pouring from a big cut. At first, it was slow, but Naruto's wound got stitched up, and he got back up. His village is going to want to know, Naruto said, pulling his mask up long enough to spit blood out. His? The Kyuubi doesn't have a home. No, it's Naruto. Right now, you and I are the good half of the Kyuubi, Naruto told him. He almost died while saving you. He sat down again and tried to slow down his breathing. What's going on? Rushi asked as he took a step back. I can't leave the seal, Kyuubi said. My chakra, however, can. So I turned half of myself into chakra and took over that clone. The half that stayed is my weaker half, which is also my good side. Rushi took a deep breath and looked in the direction the Kyuubi had gone. So. You've been set free again on the land? Only this time, you can do whatever you want. Kyuubi told him, nothing but the mind of the clone, which is strong enough. Maybe not strong enough to make my other half come back, but strong enough that he won't just go on a killing spree for no reason. Something has to first set him off. As the healing was done, he rubbed his side. I'm done, Naruto will show up again. Wait. I mean, Kyuubi-sama. How do we send him back? I'm not sure you can. Tell Kit he needs to find a place to secure these rings, because I can tell they are meant to keep the Biju out. He leaned back and closed his eyes on the ground. After a moment, Naruto opened them. Naruto stood up and asked, did what we think just happen? The Kyuubi got away, and the part of the Kyuubi that is still in you just talked to me. He told her to hide the rings because they are used to seal the Biju. Naruto shook his head. He knew it would be hard to explain this. What did he say? As Naruto rubbed his ears, he could feel his eardrums coming back together. Are you saying that the demon that attacked Konoha is now free? Yes, Lord Hokage. Even though half of him is still inside the seal, the other half has used carnage to take over one of our clones of Kage Bunshin. And because he used his chakra, that clone is more than just a shadow. What about the Kyuubi still being in you? Is there a chance that it will also get out? Hokage-sama, we don't think so, Naruto told her. He was only able to do this with the help of carnage and by separating his good and bad sides. Well, at least I can be happy about that, Tsunade said with a sigh. Naruto grabbed her secret stash of sake, poured some into a cup, and handed it to her before she could even think about it. Thank you, she threw it back and ate it all at once. So, what can we do? Naruto gave her another glass because he knew she would need it soon. Nothing, to be honest. He was right, and she did also take that shot. He was about to pour her more, but he decided not to and gave her the bottle instead. He has all of our skills and all of our knowledge. He can do everything we can do. Tsunade drank some more. So, again, what should we do? Naruto swallowed, not liking what he was thinking. We send Akatsuki to deal with him. Nani? Did you say, we send Akatsuki after him? When you've killed 4 of them already. Hi, Naruto said in answer. Please listen to us. Kyuubi is very strong just by himself. Now, he is in a small and quick form. When we fought Deidara and Sasori, we were on equal footing. The only reason we won was because they were counting on an attack that should have killed us but didn't because of Samahata. There are still 6 of them, but only 1 of him left. Maybe if they work together, they have enough power to beat Kyuubi. Kyuubi will also get rid of some of them before they do. And since they are looking for him, he won't have time to fully take over our mind in the clone. Which will stop him from destroying a lot of towns and cities. Tsunade took a deep breath and then let it out. You always plan ahead, huh? Yes, Naruto replied, then took the bottle and drank from it himself. There is also something else, Hokage-sama. He put the rings on the desk in front of her. Katsuyu and Gamabunta need you and Jiraiya Hentai. One of these rings must be taken by them. Why? Tsunade asked as she looked at them. This is more than just a sign that they are part of Akatsuki. At least, that's what the good Kyuubi thinks. They seem to be key to keeping the Biju away. We agree with what he says. Sasori and Deidara were looking for Orochimaru's ring when we met them. When we took Sasori's ring, they said that we should return it. They really want these rings. Tsunade grabbed 2 of them and put one in his pocket. I'll see to it that they get them. What about the rest? Usagi-sama, Ebony-sama, and Ukami-sama will each get one. Tsunade gave a nod. What if Akatsuki doesn't beat him? If Kyuubi wins, Tenzo, Uzumaki Haku, Uzumaki Hanada, and we will hunt him down and kill him, along with Uzumaki Haku and Hinata. How come Hinata? I can understand the other two. Hinata has the Byakugan and knows how to fight someone with our bloodline. By the way, where are they? We stopped by our house to drop off a friend, but we didn't see them there. They are going somewhere. There was a problem in the ocean, so I thought Haku, who could control ice, and Hinata, who could call up sharks, would be perfect for it. Naruto nodded to show that he agreed with her. This is too easy, Hinata said as she grabbed one of the pirates by the neck. She pulled him close and whispered, "The prisoners, where are they?" He tried to fight her, so she tightened her hold on him. They are down below. He was thrown away by Hinata. Haku, you ready? Haku was swinging around the rigging and sails and throwing ice shinbons and other things around the deck. We will make a raft or something else to get them out of here. Hinata nodded, punched a hole in the deck, and then climbed down. Hello, if you were in jail, we are here to save you. If you were a pirate, I will kill you. Some people swallowed nervously as they looked at her. When the pirates came at her with weapons, she put her hands on the deck and threw branches at them. Another one? They all put up their hands to show they were giving up. Hinata kicked them out of the hold and started looking through the cells. When she got to one that was held more tightly than the others, she picked it up. She looked through the hole at the top of the door and saw that this was a two-part cell. A man with yellow spiky hair and a narrow face was tied to the wall. Overall, he kind of looked like a weasel. On the other side of him, a pirate had a dagger to the throat of a scared girl. "If you come in here, I'll kill her," the pirate yelled. She put her hands on the wall and frowned. A vine came out of the wall, went into one of the pirate's ears, and came out the other. He dropped his knife and let go of the girl as his eyes rolled into the back of his head. Hinata ripped the henge's door off and looked at the two still alive inside. She first asked the girl, "Are you okay?" I'm all right." She asked, "Where is my mommy?" With a little bit of crying. "I'm sure she's upstairs, and I'll show you where she is." "And you," Hinata said as she looked at the man who was tied down. "Is there a reason you're not with the other prisoners and are instead here?" "I destroyed one of the other ships," the man said. "When they said they would kill her if I didn't give myself up, I did." "Is what he said true?" Hinata asked the girl. The girl agreed and said, "Yes. He is a good person." Hinata gave him a nod and looked at him again. She smiled behind her mask and said, "Gogyu, if you be so kind as to get out of those chains, we'll leave this ship and go to land." He raised an eyebrow at her, showing that he knew who she was, and snapped the chains with his hands. "How did you already know?" Hinata told him as she picked up the little girl, "Our husband is also a Jinchuriki." "Come on, let's go find your mother," she said. On the top deck, a woman ran up and grabbed the girl out of the woman's arms. "Where is your headband then?" "I gave it to my old town. I didn't really want to be a ninja anyway." "So, why are you here if not to save little girls?" "Our village got the job, so 2 water users were sent to look into it." "Excuse us, but there are more pirates coming." Hinata walked to the edge of the deck and jumped off. She climbed back up as a cloud of smoke rose above the railing. "Haku, that's everybody." Something hit a boat way off in the distance. After a few seconds, several men started yelling, "Shark!" "All right," Haku said as she fell down. "Just a second." Her eyes turned into a raft that was big enough for all 5 pirate ships and more. She cut her thumb and yelled, summoning no jutsu. When the huge tower of smoke cleared, a giant hare with a bottle on his side was standing there. "Good morning, Usagi-sama." "Hello there, kid. I didn't think you would call me. What is giving you trouble?" "These people were taken by pirates, and we don't know how to get them back to shore." You don't happen to be able to run on water, do you? The big bunny laughed. I can, yes. Bring them to me. Once everyone was there, he ran across the water until he reached land. He stopped when he got to Konoha because he knew that Hinata and Haku would get them to where they needed to go safely from there. Oh, and here's another gut-wrencher for Gaara. I will make sure he gets it, Usagi-sama, said Haku with a bow. When everything was finally taken care of, she took off her mask and sighed with relief. She took Hinata's hand and began to pull her along. Hurry up. We need to come up with some ideas that will make Naruto want to stay in the village more. No, Haku, we're tired, sweaty, and just want to chill out. Before Haku pulled her into a spa, she was going to say more. Well, if you want to force us, maybe for a while. Before they left the shop, that little while had turned into 2 hours. It felt great in his hands. Haku said, maybe we should teach Naruto how to give a massage. Now we need to come up with a surprise for Naruto-kun. Hinata asked, like what? He doesn't get surprised very often. When they stopped in front of a store, her jaw dropped. Oh, this will, Haku said with a smile. She went into the store that sold underwear. She stared at him for a moment, then grinned evilly and went inside. When Naruto was done with his paperwork as an Anbu agent and a council member, he went home and wondered why he wanted to be Hokage on top of everything else. Because he knew there was paperwork at home waiting for him. He slid into his house with a groan, and the Fuma didn't even notice, thank Kami. When Kimimaro started to walk toward him, he growled, "You didn't see us, we are not here, and you are still in charge until at least tomorrow afternoon." Kimimaro stopped and said, Sure, Naruto-sama. What about the message from the ladies Uzumaki? Show us. They are in the bedroom waiting for you. And to let you know that you can't go any further. Naruto's eyes got a little wider, and he gave a small nod. Good night, Naruto-sama, he said. Same for you, Kimimaro. He went to his room and carefully opened the door. When he looked inside, he saw that the lights were off. He was about to grab it, but then he heard Hinata tell him to stop. Her voice had a rough edge that Naruto only recognized on an animal level. And it did catch his attention. Can you? Well, on and off, Haku said. Naruto flipped the switch up and down, and the image burned into his mind. Whoa. He stuck his head back out the door and said, make that in 2 days. He went back inside and said, it's good to be the clan head. Because at that moment, when everything was going wrong in some way, he didn't give a damn. All that mattered to him was that Hinata-chan and Haku-chan were wearing almost see-through teddies with sky blue and rose red ties, respectively. Hinata was behind Haku and had her hands on her chest as she and Haku smiled at him. Everyone would have agreed with him that being the leader of the clan was a good thing.
So that's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel for more awesome stories like this. Thank you. See you all in my next video.